Alright, yeah, my teachers always told me I'd never amount to nothing, and they may have been right. That's why I jump on the mic every night. 'Cause when I jump on the mic, that's how I know that I'ma be alright. Well, I'ma be alright.
Welcome back. I was okay. Here we go. So this episode, I want to take a look at the unspoken emotional labour of teaching. So the unspoken emotional labour of teaching. Before we do that, Matthew, let's start some funny stuff. 20 years, 40 years teaching between the two of us. Obviously seen some stuff in our time within reason, some funny things or some wild things we've seen in our time teaching. I'll start. First year teaching, I'm walking down to the staff room from the math rooms past the science room, which is second story up. As I'm walking through, these kids are yelling down at me. There's 3 kids out on the tin roof who've crawled out the window just running around. I'm 23 years old, guys get back, nothing to do with me, guys get back into the classroom. Teacher sticks his head out the window, effing get back into the classroom now. And I was like, old school teacher. I was like, wow, this is what you come after you've been 20 years teaching. Fortunately, I didn't come into that. Another one I've got, as I've told before, so fast forward about 7 or 8 years, I'm helping out a newer teacher with some challenging kids in a class. He calls me over, go in the classroom. So year 7s or year 8s, this tiny student fella storming up and down the classroom aisles. I'm like, mate, look, you need to come with me and get you out of here, just calm down. He turns to me, dishes his pen at me and goes, the pen is mightier than the sword. I tried not to burst out and laugh. Eventually he came with me, but I was like, you see some stuff in teaching.
You do? One that comes to mind, I was on playground duty in early childhood. So
always fun, playground duty.
Always fun. And an EA was saying that this student wouldn't eat her lunch, her lunch order. And you can't go and play until you eat your lunch.
Is that a rule, is it?
No. But that was the line, yeah?
Right.
And she's like, Matt, so-and-so is not eating her lunch. What do I do
Was she on silent protest?
She was neurodiverse.
Right.
And as she's talking, we look over at this student who had a nice sausage roll, tomato sauce, everything, just put it in her hat, like the sausage roll, tomato sauce, and then slammed the hat on her head. So there was bits of sausage roll and sauce oozed down.
She wanted to get to play quickly?
Yeah, and she didn't want to eat the sausage roll. Mum ordered her a sausage roll, she doesn't eat it.
Not doing that, but I still want my playtime.
Yeah.
Good move.
And then he's like, well, what do I do now? I'm like, I don't know. Wash her hair, let her play. Like, there's not much you can do now. She's not going to eat it.
That's the best thing in teaching. That's where you know you're a real teacher. When something like wild happens and people look at you, what do you do? You're like, oh, you're here with me. Like, we're both in this situation. This is both new to us.
Another one was on the mat, minding my own business, reading a big book, and a kid just vomited on the floor.
Right.
And then, well, all right, kids, just move over here. Well, halfway through a story, and the kids didn't want to stop the story.
Got to hear the story going.
So I'm like, huh? And then just trying to put a bit of paper over there. Got the kitty litter, which apparently works. I don't know how, but every room, early childhood room, has kitty litter for vomit.
You learn some cleaning stuff in teaching, don't you?
Yeah. So I had to just wait for the EA to come back. So I can't just leave a classroom full of kids, like 5-year-olds, to go deal with this. So I'm like, it's just all over here. Just read the book and then just wait for Mrs. Whatever to come back.
Absolutely. I think it's fair to say that you have be able to react in the moment and stay cool under pressure is big in teaching.
Very important.
But yeah, and that's, I was thinking on the drive over here. I'm like, I remember I used to write all this stuff down my first 5 years. Then after a while, it just becomes a blur. You see so much stuff.
Yep.
They just forget about it. All right. So to the serious part of the episode. So we're looking at the unspoken emotional labour of teaching. So we know teaching is a pressurised job. Very stressful, a lot going on. I think emotional labour can get a little bit swept to the side a bit.
It's probably I would say the biggest reason teachers leave is the emotional toll of the job.
So okay, so let's. So
but I'm 30. Look at this.
You told me you were 27.
Nah, I was lying.
So what, in our eyes, what is emotional labour in teaching? So managing your emotion and managing, so managing your emotions and then you're managing others. So I find that, so it's not just your emotions, but actually classrooms as well.
other
Staff,
teachers,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
So if you think about it, like at home, you might get grumpy at your kids for doing something. You might tell them that you're going to take their iPad off them if they don't, brush their teeth, whatever. You can't do those things in the classroom. So you need to work on being calm, coming up with different engagement strategies, trying not to be punitive. You're trying to do all of that stuff in the moment with a child who doesn't want to listen to you.
You're constantly regulating yourself as well, aren't you?
Yeah, it's that internal regulation of. So you don't want to be the teacher that just tells them to shut up.
Nothing happens. Yeah.
So you don't want to be that person, but then you've got to worry about yourself. And now this child's getting anxious and aggressive, but that student over there is now like getting anxious and under the table. So now you need to manage the classroom and yourself, all because someone doesn't want to do any work.
I find that hilarious when you talk to non-teachers and they're like, yeah, just if they've been disruptive, just tell them to stop and send them outside. I'm like, that never happens. That never works.
And they want to be outside.
Yeah. So as a teacher, you're constantly thinking of like every step in front. If they do this, then what do you do? Then this. And that's just one student. You might have a disruptive class of 20 students in there and you're constantly trying to individualize.
Yeah, and it's unmanageable if, like you say all the time, you're trying to be perfect. It just doesn't work. You can have a nice, calm, emotionally stable classroom, but you're probably not going to get through your lesson plan.
So let's look at it. So emotional labour in a day-to-day. What's some examples?
Oof.
So look, I think holding your tone's a big one when you're speaking to students and reminding yourself to be calm and patient. I find that people come to me and go, you're so calm and stuff. I'm like, well, I have to work at it. And every conversation I have with a student, I can feel myself. There's an anger. I think everyone's got anger, but it's how you can control it. It's important.
And also I find that it's easier to be regulated when you tell the students that what you're doing is making me frustrated or annoyed. Does that make sense? Like you're not saying that they're winning, but you can say, look, this is becoming really frustrating. We're not getting anything out of this conversation. I don't want to yell at you, and I don't know where to go. So you know what? Go for a walk. I'm going to go for a walk. We'll come back and we'll talk about it together. Like you put a hard boundary in yourself when you feel like that.
Yeah.
Set it down. I'm going to go reset. And if it's one of those situations where the student's still kicking off, call for change of pace. Call your head of learning. Do something to make sure that you're regulated, because if a teacher's unregulated, the classroom's unregulated. And that's the emotional toll of the classroom. So that's why you get to recess and you're like...
Well, I think especially in the classroom, you're constantly balancing everything, every behaviour. So, is it every individual student behaviour, is it worth fighting this fight, or do I let it go unplanned? If I let it go unplanned, what's the effect there? But all while you're at the whiteboard trying to teach a concept, you got all this rolling through your head. And you're right, so by the time that 50 minutes, hour, whatever period finishes, and then you go and you roll in and do it again. And now it's a different set of dynamics.
5 times a day for high school teachers.
Different kids. And it's not like all year 7s or all year 10s or year 12s are the same. They've all got different layers of complexity there.
And, you also have to think, if you're the teacher up the front, the emotional, well, not so much the emotional thing, but the cognitive load that goes with trying to deal with your own emotions then adds an extra layer on. Because then you think, okay, so if I try this, then I know that so-and-so is going to get frustrated because they don't like this, then that's going to irritate me. So then I need to be calm to work through that. But that's how the rest of the class needs to learn. So it's that cognitive overload compared with the emotional overload. Gets to recess and you're like, just leave me alone. Do not talk to me. I cannot think right now. I've had enough.
Yeah, and I think by nature usually teachers are pretty sociable people, but when you've been hammered for 2 hours back to back, you need 15 minutes to recompose yourself.
Yeah. And lunch is only 10 minutes, so go figure.
Yeah, it takes 12 minutes to open the toilet door.
Yeah.
I think this is a big one, I think, for a day-to-day example, emotional labour, carrying conversations home in your head. So I find like, whatever it is, I know when I drive home, some things just seem to process at times without me consciously trying to do it. And I find for myself, what if I did this in this situation and handled it differently? I think in those situations you can go crazy on yourself as well. I think just recognise it's there, recognise you handle it in a certain way, and then if you need to make improvements, make it. But then you can let the thought kind of play itself out as well, or fizzle out. Yeah,
I don't often think about work on my drive home. mainly because I have to drive down Tonkin, so I take my life into my hands every day. But I more think that whatever the situation happens, I always think not what the kid do wrong, but all right, what set it all off? What do I remember that I could have done to avoid all of this? Now, because obviously I don't know what the students thinks, what's going through their head, but I'm like, all right, so I asked a very vague instruction to the classroom. The majority of the class did it. This student arced up. All right, cool. So that's on me. My instruction was too vague.
Yeah.
I need to be more explicit in, even if I say my vague instruction like normal, and then I just give a follow-up explicit instruction for those kids who need it. You know, because then the ones that get the vague instruction can go ahead and do it, and the kids that need the explicit one then can get it. So constantly changing practice, but not because of pedagogy or whatever, but because, oh, that's a communication strategy. I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's easy.
Yep.
But thinking like that all day, by the end of the day, I don't have time to think about it in the car.
Brings us on to our next point here. So why is emotional labour so draining? I mean, I think because it's invisible, because you don't realise how much you're doing all the time. You know, it's like whatever the iceberg photo is, the tip of the iceberg's only here. Everything else is underneath the surface.
Yep.
And there's so much going on. I think it's, after a while, after doing teaching for a while, you definitely get used to it. But like I've said it before, working with new teachers or prac students or whatever, you realise how much teaching is done like non-verbal, and you're constantly sort of without recognition and stuff. And it's those things you try to impart on new teachers, only going to be experience.
And if you think about it, teachers get praise, I guess, get good job for their planning, for their overviews, for their content delivery. No, very rarely does an admin praise, oh, you handle that really well. Good job.
It seems like schools going more down. The behaviour's getting bigger these days.
A lot more are going down. Gee, you taught that lesson really well, but I really like how hard you tried to keep calm in that classroom situation, because that would have been very stressful. And a lot more, that old guard of education, thank God they're retiring, and new people are coming up that value both academics and
the human side of it.
Yeah, which hopefully in the future teaching won't be so draining, because people will be able to say, you know what, I'm just going to get the whole to come in. I just need 10 minutes in this lesson. I can't, you know what, Miles, can you just come in, just take the first 10 minutes. I just need a break. And they'll be like, sure, no problem. If time works, therefore, and I do find in some of the primary schools I'm working at the moment, admin who have in the past been completely removed from the classroom are now taking more of an active role of stepping into the classroom to help grad teachers, to help those that are overwhelmed.
I think there's definitely a need for that. And again,
I think it's amazing. Good on admin for actually doing it. And it also makes teachers respond to them better, because you're not just, here's the program, do it. You're actually seeing the people try to implement the program, struggle like you struggle.
Absolutely.
Come up with strategies on the fly.
And that's the key. I think if you're any team you're part of, you want to see people are pulling their weight. And if you've got, and I'm not any particular school or anything, but and most higher schools is executive teams, deputies and principals are in the offices and don't teach anymore. That's just the way it is. I think that needs to change. I think you need to have those people in a class, like take a class for a week, and even to go a step further, take the more difficult classes. Yep. I think that does two things. It keeps everyone accountable, but B, you're going to create that team where everyone's working on the front lines together, and going through struggle and seeing that it's not perfect.
Yeah, and you can also share the emotional load. Like I do think that obviously admin have their own struggles because they do a lot of paperwork. They deal with very angry parents.
Absolutely.
They deal with the legal side of things.
Yeah.
They deal, it's not like their job's easy. They're just in an office all day.
Absolutely.
But they need, that's pretty broad, but some admin need to realise that teachers are human. They get overwhelmed, they get emotional, who knows what's happening at home, like their 3-year-old toddler might have, been vomiting all night and they didn't get any sleep. So, just help each other out. Be nice.
So what about so let's look at the hidden costs now of emotional labour. So I think emotional spillover. So your loss of pay. Yeah. So I mean, it's just and we, both young families. I've got to, as I walk through the door each day, just take a breath and remind myself to calm down. And not that you do it on purpose, but you don't want any fatigue or anything from the day of teaching to then make its way into your personal life.
Well, I look at it like, you and I, we do jiu-jitsu, yeah? And I'm not training very much. Not because I don't want to. I want to train every day. But I am emotionally and cognitively spent by the end of the day that I need to take the last bit of capacity I have and help my family and be a parent. Not go down and do jiu-jitsu, which will help me be a better teacher and be a better parent because I'm looking after my own, sort of.
I have to admit, though, there has been some training sessions at a hardcore day at work and you're trying to think and you can't. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to see what happens here. I'm going to throw it to the wall and see how we go.
There are some Mondays after a heavy open mat and a Sunday.
Because people don't see that. Aren't teachers. Like, you're emotionally drained. So even like thinking becomes hard. And trying to explain stuff, I'm like, I don't.
So every now and then I'll start driving to training and I'll turn back around because I know that I don't have the cognitive and the emotional level to keep it calm. Because am I going to end up snapping and trying to punch someone, or that's not the sport we do. So there is a huge hidden toll, and lots of teachers, and I don't know, I can't speak for all male teachers, but lots of us just hold it in and come home and we're fine.
That's where the drinking and stuff comes in, doesn't it? And everything else.
So just talk, Pete.
Do you think it's because teachers in general care too deeply or care too much? Do you think that's part of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why? Because people don't get into teaching.
So teachers are empathetic people, and because of that, that's one of the characteristics is caring. Yeah.
And that's the thing that really good teachers, I find, can manage being empathetic to kids' needs, but also managing their own so they don't get burnt out, so they can help more students.
Yeah.
So, teachers get in and they're like, oh, I want to change the world. I want to teach the leaders of tomorrow. And you might, but you need to be regulated first. And
regulate?
Yeah, this job is very draining.
So draining.
And it's not, yes, the paperwork and the planning and stuff is draining, but it's more the hidden stuff, the emotional load that never really gets talked about. It's a hard part.
So what helps without adding more work? What about, boundaries are a big one, setting your life boundaries. It's micro resets. I mean, I can find that if I've had high school, you just do back-to-back lessons. So bell goes one lesson, usually there's 3 or 4 minutes till the next class arrives. So I can have a shocking lesson. So say I have a period 3 lesson, and then I've got to go return for period 4. It's just letting go of what happened in period 3. And it can be hard at first, but it's done now. I can't go back to it. Anything I need to follow up, I can follow up down the track. But it's just, I've got to get ready for my next class now. So I guess those micro resets.
And that mindset of different kids, they don't need what happened in the last class. Is not going to follow over to this class. But if it is something that does follow over, having the ability to call your holler, call someone to come in, take those first 5 minutes.
Have the support.
So you can go, and that's going to really help drain that emotional load. Just get it out of your system. So you can come back and go, oh, you know what? Thanks, Miles. I really needed that coffee. Hey, I've been a rough morning. Thanks, mate. All good. And then you just take over. And the kids are going to see a happier, regenerated you, rejuvenated you, and their behaviour will go, because the teacher is the classroom thermometer. Teacher's calm, kids are mostly calm. Kids are anxious, class is anxious.
I think having good colleague support is important around you as well, and just to be able to share stories and stuff. And at the end of the day, I find myself being able to laugh about things or shared, funny, wild, whatever it happens to be.
Absolutely.
Generally brings at least some camaraderie and some support to the
And there's
profession.
always, in a workplace, you're going to have people that you can talk to professionally, engage, and there's going to be people that you can sort of be a bit more you, and then there's people that you will find that are more friends that you end up working with, and they're the people that you can really share that load with. You know, like have a chat, have a joke, because they get your humor, they get what you're going through.
Yep.
Which is what's needed, I think.
So how can we summarise emotional labour in teaching? I think it's just, it's naming it.
It's everywhere.
It's so much. It's never ending. No, I mean, I think a big part of it, step in the right direction, is naming it, understanding what you're going through.
And everyone goes through it. It's not just a you thing.
And it's consistent throughout. Like, it ebbs and flows throughout your career as well. And then, I think it's emotional labour is not weakness either. Realise that it's a very pressurised profession. There's a lot going on.
And you only have so much bandwidth. Like, everyone can only do so much until they can't do it anymore.
Absolutely.
You know, like, you just need to understand that everything's building up and put the handbrake on before it gets too far. Just understanding yourself, and then, you know what? I need a break. I need a hard reset.
I'm going to go be an engineer. No, I'm kidding. I agree, man. Like always, team, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.